Good evening, and welcome to the 2016 Executive Summit. Welcome to Florida. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time in the snow industry. Executive Summit was put together. We started this, I guess, about 5 years ago. And it's a combination of high-end networking, high-end education, recognition, and a bunch of leaders in the industry getting together and hopefully shaping the future of the snow and ice management industry. These events are not possible without the support of our sponsors. So I wanted to thank the folks from Byers Products, Mills Insurance, Meyer Products, Central Salt, Boss Snowplows, Arctic Snow and Ice, Bobcat, Western Products, Fisher Snowplows, John Deere, ProTech, and Ventrac. Without their support, this event doesn't happen. So thank you very much for the support of the ASCA. I want to thank Tammy Johnson and Matt and Josh for their presentations earlier today. They did a great job. Matt, you indicated you were teeing me up a little bit. I'm here to tell you guys, and I'm the first one to tell you, hell has frozen over. There is change coming, and we finally are no longer working on theory. For 3 or 4 years, we've been working on theory, that if we created standards and education and verification, that we would be able to impact the professional snow and ice management industry and insurance rates. Nationally, 35% of all snow and ice slip and fall claims are dismissed. Within the ASCA insurance program, 70% of these claims are now being dismissed. It is a huge, huge impact. It is a huge, huge improvement in what's going on, and we're really just on the front end of it. Back to hell freezing over. 5 years ago, I stood up on this stage in Cleveland, Ohio, and said that we were going to change the laws. I got down off that stage after a number of questions, and there were a whole bunch of people that told me that we couldn't change the laws. And guess what? We're changing the laws. I got a lot of people in this room that have done a lot of work over the last number of years that have really supported this initiative. I stood up here a year ago and talked about kicking off our state-level initiatives. We are in just a year and 5 months after our first legislative day in Illinois, about to have a law passed in Illinois. The legislation that we're talking about is an anti-indemnification bill. That anti-indemnification bill would disallow a property owner from passing their liability onto the snow and ice management company. It is a huge, huge project, but something very necessary for this industry. So, that being said, I know we've had a lot of legislative efforts, a lot of legislative initiatives. If you have attended a legislative day with ASCA, could you please stand up for a second? Oh, come on. There's a lot of you in this room that have done it. You guys are making a difference. Thank you. There are 4 individuals, like I said, it's a night of recognition or an event of recognition as well, that really, really drove things home in their state. And I want to publicly thank them. And I want to tell a little bit of their stories. I'm not going to spend a lot of time up here. But first of all, in the state of Illinois, Peter Smolka called me up and asked me how we can get things moving in Illinois. And I said, we need to get the message to your legislators. He took his entire team, put them on the phone, and made them set appointments and told them they could go to Springfield with us if they got an appointment with their congressman or their senator. And they did. And we had 19 or so appointments. And the very first one, we got our legislation introduced. It sat there for a year. We finally got it moving. In Illinois, Senate Bill 2138 passed the Illinois Senate unanimously in May. It passed the House unanimously in June. That law has been sitting on the governor's desk for 30 days. That law will be signed this month. He's got 60 days from June 27th to get that bill signed. That will be the first piece of legislation that we've gotten passed. Peter, if you would come up real quick in recognition for those efforts, I want to thank you. Good job, buddy. Thank you so much. Good job. In the state of Pennsylvania, we've got two ladies that are very, very diligent about really pushing this initiative. And both Steph Sowers and Terry Meredith have driven this initiative in Pennsylvania. We were able to get a bill introduced last fall, I think it was, and it was House Bill 1672. I got a call one day from Steph about 3 months ago and she said, Kevin, you think we need to go to Harrisburg? About 5 minutes later, we were putting plans together for a legislative day in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. That day was June 15th? June 14th? We had about 20 contractors that were there with us. We went around and explained the positioning of our bill. We asked them to amend it a little bit to actually mirror the Illinois bill. 2 days later, I'm on a conference call in the insurance committee room, and they're talking to me about how they're going to introduce the bill and what they're going to do and how it's going to get moved quickly. Steph got a call that afternoon from Tom Mert, who is the sponsor of the bill, and I think I will quote him as saying, I don't know what you did up there, but you certainly raised some hell. They gave us a new bill number the next week to agree to our amendments. That was first and foremost. And then they committed to hearing it in the House second week of September, pushing it through the Senate very quickly. They hope to have that bill signed by winter of this year. Terry, you were an appointment-setting machine. You made appointments with anybody. It didn't matter where they were. So in recognition of your efforts, if the two of you would come on up, I want to say thank you to you guys as well. Whoops. Thank you. Thanks, Terry. Thank you. Yeah. Good job. Thank you. Really, Matt? Do we have to come back and do this one later? So I'll tell the story anyways. I drove up to Michigan, and I met Troy and Linda Clogg at their house, and as I walked through the door, Linda's on a phone call with her representative after I drove 2.5 hours to get up there, and she is canceling our appointment that we had a half hour later. Needless to say, Linda was none too pleased. But we sat around the kitchen table, and we developed a plan, and we planned a legislative day in Lansing, Michigan. I know a number of you folks were there that are in this room, and as you know, that was one of our greatest legislative days that we had. Ken Yonkers agreed to sponsor our bill that morning in the very first appointment. We spent the rest of the day with, I think, 29 contractors getting more and more appointments or more and more support for this bill. That bill passed Michigan's House of Representatives, ironically enough, the same day that Illinois passed our bill in their House of Representatives. Ken Yonkers has committed to us that when they get back into session on the second week of September, that the Senate's going to hear the bill. The chair of the Judiciary Committee in the Senate of Michigan has committed to making sure this bill passes. We anticipate Michigan passing this bill before winter of this year. So when you see Linda, I think they were coming back up from the pool, but congratulate Linda on just a great, great job and everything that she did to drive the state of Michigan, because she truly made it happen. She contacted all of the snow contractors in Michigan. She contacted half of the representatives. She helped everybody get the meetings. She's a great reason that this bill is going to be passed there. So we'll get to her later, but we are making a heck of a lot of progress. It is not just me. It is everybody that's involved in the ASCA. One individual can't do this. I appreciate all of the support that you folks give me and maybe some of the accolades, but we're doing this together. We're doing it as a team, and we've got a lot more progress to make. So to all of you folks that have helped with the legislative initiatives, thank you very much. Give yourselves a round of applause, if you would. So. We have legislation introduced in probably a half dozen other states. I know the legislation is introduced in New York, New Jersey, Indiana. It's coming in a couple other states fairly quickly. We're working diligently. If it's not in your state and you would like to help get it moved along in your state, please come see me. Massachusetts, we're moving it along in. We're amending to another bill there. But interestingly enough, with this legislation, I'll give you a little feedback. In Illinois, as we got this pushed through, one of the questions we always get when we're talking to the legislators is, where do the plaintiff's attorneys sit on this? I always want to know where the plaintiff's attorneys sit on this. And typically we said that they weren't very interested because they could still sue people. We found out that to be a little bit wrong. It's a little bit different. But the plaintiff's attorneys actually backed our bill in Illinois. Interestingly enough. Then we figured it out. They don't want to sue you. They want to sue the deep pockets. And when they're passing off the liability to the little guy, they didn't even realize that. So we've got a lot of power behind us. We're going to continue this road. It's an exciting time in the snow industry where we have a lot to go through.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elizabeth Wall.
Linda, you're not allowed to sit down. We just told a little story about you. No. As we're kicking this off, Linda, there are a number of folks here that did a heck of a job this year, and I recognized 4 of them. And everybody is aware of the diligence and the effort that you put into passing our legislation in the Michigan House. And so we wanted to recognize you for those efforts. Thank you for the hard work that you put in. And if everybody, she gets her own round of applause. So. And you also get to come up here and say hi to me real quick. Linda, you should know me by now. So you did a great job. It was a lot of fun, and thank you very much for all of the efforts that you put in.
Thank you for your
good job.
leadership.
No problem.
Thanks, guys.